Hi, this is Debbie, and this is Light Up Your Worth. Welcome back. We're still in the midst of the International Women's Series, and I'm going to be introducing you this week to Kimberly. And what is so great about Kimberly is she has this saying that says, if you're not having fun, it's not worth doing. So when we think about growing our businesses as entrepreneurs, we think about how can you reach more people? And she has a really wonderful community that she has built about speakers. And we're going to hear more about that in the episode. But it really emphasizes the importance of community. I know myself that community is extremely important because we can all start to feel isolated in what we're doing, even when we are working towards a vision that is inspiring and serving others. And so I'm super excited to bring Kimberly on and infuse some fun into the workplace. So have a great time listening to this. And I would love if you would subscribe and share. And if you feel so called to go and write us a review. So thanks for being here, and let's jump in. Oh, this is Debbie, and this is Light Up Your Worth. I am so excited to bring you this week's guest, and you're going to be just as excited as I am here momentarily. So with me today is Kimberly Crow, an award-winning international speaker, TEDx speaker, and dynamic entrepreneur known for her high-energy approach to business and personal growth. As the host of Speaker Playhouse and founder of Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel, Kimberly has empowered thousands of entrepreneurs, coaches, and speakers. Kimberly is dedicated to creating supportive communities where professionals can thrive and achieve extraordinary results. Her motto, if it's not fun, it's not worth doing, drives her mission to make personal and professional development and engaging and uplifting experiences. Welcome, Kimberly.
Delighted to be here. Thank you for having me, Debbie. I'm glad to be on Light Up Your Word.
I feel really aligned to your purpose about building communities and having people really uplift each other. I just think it's so powerful for when women, especially, are uplifting other women.
Oh, I totally agree. There are so many people out there with a passion and a message and a purpose that they have something really great inside them and they're so nervous to get it out, or they know they can make a difference in the world, but they're not getting seen or heard. And I'm very passionate about helping those people get seen and heard. We all have a mission, a story to tell, something to get out there. If you're not being seen, you're being overlooked. If you're not being heard, your message isn't getting out there. And if you're not consistently getting it out on stages like podcasts or radio shows, then you're not going to have the impact you want before you leave the planet.
Exactly. I was surprised recently, probably about a year ago, since I heard the stat that less than 50% of podcasts are actually by females.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's a surprise to me. But yes, I have a saying, it's not true, but it's funny. If you go out and Google inspirational speakers or motivational speakers, you'll find that there's a whole bunch of white guys and like four other people. And it's not against the white guys. Good for them. They figured it out and figured out how to get on stages. It's just that the rest of us need to step up to the mic and light up our worth, like your podcast says. Like, really believe that what we have to say is worth hearing.
And one of the things I love that absolutely brings me so much joy is meeting people and giving them that chance to really showcase what they do, how they got there, what are their nuggets of wisdom that they have to share, their gifts really to the world. And I truly believe that once we own our own worth, our light just really does shine through. And how you walk through life shows up, the people that you attract, it just all changes.
I agree. Imposter syndrome gets everybody. It's just a matter of confidence that we step forward in, knowing that even though that we're not perfect, we are worthy. that what we have is worth sharing, that what we have has value. And just by being here, we are divinely or spiritually gifted with being of value just by showing up.
Hmm. And one of the things that attracted to me to have you on the podcast was how intensely you are building with so many different vehicles or venues, really, for building these communities. And would you share with me on the screen? It says Speakers Playhouse. I
Yeah.
would
So
love to hear more about that.
Speakers Playhouse is a weekly broadcast. It's on Zoom. It's live every single week. It's free to attend. It works just like the old TV show did. We get people on, and they are people who have podcasts or radio shows or TV shows or web summits, webinars, live streams, or real live in-person stages, and they're looking for guest experts. So they come to the mic and they share the name of their show and the types of guests they're looking for, and then since it's on Zoom, they drop their contact information in the chat. So everybody in the room can apply for their show and just reach out directly. Then it's very gamified. We have a lot of goofballery, bonus points. The points don't matter, or they really do. At the end, all the speakers get a chance to come to the mic and share what they'd like to speak about on somebody's podcast. They share their name, subject of passion, and contact information in the chat. It's a big networking opportunity to share their message with new audiences.
Beautiful. Because
Well,
you
thank
can
you.
start working through your imposter syndrome. It's another thing to grow the podcast.
Growing a podcast is very difficult. You're competing against so many others. You and I were just sharing about some of the different ways that you can grow a podcast and what you can do to call attention to it. There's a couple of opportunities within my community, but there's so much out there. So a lot of people think they have to do Facebook ads or paying for advertising to get the word out about their podcast. Your podcast ideally should be bringing you money. It should be bringing you leads. It should be bringing you connections. It should be giving you an opportunity to share your message out there in the world rather than costing you money. So as you build this podcast, as you're growing it, we want it to be turned into something that is supporting your business rather than taking away from it.
Hmm. I love that. Now, what are some of the other ways that you are building these communities within to support your mission?
Yes, the weekly show is also a Facebook group. So the Facebook group is a community, and I think there's probably 5,400 people. I also have another community called Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel. Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel is if you're not necessarily a speaker, but you're interested in building your business, Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel is an incredible Facebook community where people are connecting and finding out more. They get to advertise their shows, they get to advertise their upcoming events. If they just had a book, they get to announce it in there, all kinds of activities, and a way to connect with other entrepreneurs who are really trying to do what you're doing in a different category so you can support each other.
Mm.
And having other people in your world that are like fighting the good fight with you, that are out there doing good in the world, connecting with those in a community can be powerful to know you're not alone as an entrepreneur.
So, what type of entrepreneurs are you attracting into this vehicle?
Primarily since it's online, a lot of online entrepreneurs. If you're a donut shop owner, I can't really help. But if you are a coach, healer, speaker, or if you have a course and you're a course creator, if you have something that's an online based business, something that you can do over Zoom or the internet, they call them digital entrepreneurs or digital nomads. Check out these communities you can play around in. It can be powerful.
Hmm. I love communities supporting each other. I'm a heart based entrepreneur.
It's purpose driven.
Tell me about some of the speakers you've had and their success stories.
One of our biggest success stories that comes to mind is a gentleman by the name of Frank. And he has now done over 1,000 keynotes. He is an 11-time TEDx speaker. I think it might be more than that by the time this releases. After he met us, he was focused in an area that just needed a little tweaking. And as I talked with him and he became part of our community, he switched the way he resonated with our group. And he added, actually, he'll tell you this, he added $250,000 to his revenue within 4 months after meeting me. because we just tweaked it slightly because what he was offering wasn't necessarily what the audience was ready to buy first. It was what they were ready to buy first. So it was a really powerful little switch. And once you have somebody that can look from the outside in, that can be very helpful to guiding you into that breakthrough. That was your juicy goodness is always there. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of how you're presenting it to the world.
It is. I know so many entrepreneurs, including myself, is that you get stuck in the how do you present it? You hear about, oh, they might want this. Like people want to feel worthy, but they're
Yeah.
not going to buy worthy.
Yeah. Good point. That's a really good point. They want to buy the solution, right? They want to buy the thousand songs in your pocket. They don't want to buy the little device, right? They want to buy what the little device can give them. Thousand songs in your pocket was not iPod, an Apple device. So what will your thing do for them? What will the end result be? Will they make, and it's usually, I want to make more money. I want to have more time, better relationships, more sex. I want to have more hair. I want to have less hair, something like that. Solve for me. Once I have the solve, I know you can help. Then we can get into squishier topics like mindset, being worthy, avoiding imposter syndrome, figuring out our purpose, having clarity on what we want to do for a living. You and I were talking in the green room about I have a motto, which is if it's not fun, it's not worth doing. But I haven't had that my whole life. I didn't have fun my whole life.
Oh, tell me more. How did that switch? I'm intrigued.
I, like many of your listeners, probably did the thing we were supposed to do. We're in a similar generation, so you might have felt it too, but we were told go to school, go to college, get a good job, get health insurance, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what we were supposed to do. It wasn't, let's build you an entrepreneurship. I did that and worked at a Fortune 1000 company and worked my way up. Eventually, I was an executive director making a multi six figure income. I worked there for 17 years. 15 of them were good, but the last two really weren't. I climbed to the top peaks behind the curtain, and the people at my level or above were miserable. They were unhappy. Many smokers were mean and bitter to their employees, divorced. Many didn't speak to their children, just people I didn't want to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had this crisis of faith. And so I decided that I wanted to jump off that ladder, create an entrepreneurship, build my own thing. I quit and had a nice small package, but it was fine. And I thought we're better off parting as friends, right? They were very good to me at the end. And then I decided that I would build a business around what I knew. In fact, my friends and family were like, you were so good at that in corporate. Why don't you hang your own shingle and do that? So I did. My goal was to build it to $1 million in revenue. And I did in about 18 months. And then
That's an accomplishment.
and you would think I was happy to have
Mm.
made that achievement. I was miserable because I had built a business around what I didn't want to do anymore. I've been there, done that. I knew there was something else. And I thought, I don't want to just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And so I thought, really, I need anything else. And I couldn't find it. And it's not like it was overnight. It was like instantaneous what I figured out. But one day I didn't go to work. I decided it's my own company. I'm not going to work. I went for a walk and I ended up, there's mountains where I lived and I ended up climbing a mountain and thought, maybe I'll find it at the top of a mountain. like a yogi would sprinkle down all the genius. So I went home. My son heard me come in and he said, Mom, I have a problem. He was 15 and a half. He said, I'm too young to get a summer job and I'm too old to go back to summer camp. I said, okay. And I thought we should build something around what you love doing. Because I'm tired of doing stuff we're supposed to do. Your joy is worth pursuing. Let's figure out what you love and create a business around it. He was super excited. He was good at impromptu speaking. He was good at being on stage. He was a singer. He read books to kids in libraries. He loved being able to perform and do voices and things like that. So we put all that into Google and out came the idea to be an audiobook narrator, like to narrate audiobooks. And he's, oh my gosh, can I make money doing that? Can we make a business about that? And I was like, so let's figure it out. So we bought some stuff and auditioned for books. And we got a few authors that wanted us to read their books for them. And we had a business just like that, just based on what would be fun to do. And we started recording audiobooks and we were landing new contracts. In fact, we got so much business, we couldn't handle it all because we were having just so much fun, just auditioning and reading the books, and we were getting behind. So we thought, oh, we need to we need to hire some other narrators, and we need to teach them how to do this. We went to a local adult school and we taught a class on how to be an audiobook narrator and voiceover artist. And they loved it. They loved it. We had so much fun teaching that we were like, we just want to do this. This is super fun. But again, teaching at an adult school is not a great way to make a ton of money. And neither is reading audiobooks. It's fun, but it doesn't make a ton of money. So we decided to take our show on the road and teach online. I thought this is the key to everything. If it's not fun, why are we doing it? Because there's plenty of people who don't want to go anywhere near narrating an audiobook. They're like, would never do that, right? Plenty of people would never want to be an entrepreneur. That's fine. And there's people who would never want to get on stage, people who would never want to speak on Zoom. There are people who don't want to build communities. They want to do other stuff. Everybody should do what they love. Brought here for it. That we all got here with some sort of gift that we're supposed to contribute to the universe. And if we don't do it, if we play small and we're playing in somebody else's world and doing somebody else's job to fulfill their dreams, then we're not going to be fulfilling your one. So that's my story. I know that was long. I'm sorry.
How you've instilled in your son about staying true to yourself.
Yeah.
The foundation is really, let's work on our strengths, like the strength finders,
A big fan.
especially coming from an environment where you're not focused on your strengths. You're focused on what you know how to do. You were very successful in that realm.
We get too busy doing what we're supposed to do instead of what we want to do and what we love to do. I'm not saying if you love to lie on the couch and watch TV all day, that you can make a living at that. There might be a possibility, but it's probably few and far between. But there's something that lights you up, makes you feel happy. And that's your guiding light. That's where you need to look. That's going to be the thing that brings you forward into, oh, here's what I was supposed to be doing all this time.
Yes. Yes. Now, when you went to do this for yourself, because you role modeled it for your son, how did you make that leap?
I was like, this is fun. This is all I want to do. I want to teach people. And it wasn't a snap. It was a path. People will say, my purpose is to help people. And I think, was that your purpose when you were 5? And will it be your purpose when you're 95? Or will your purpose in 95 be something different, right? Our purpose evolves just like we do. My purpose had evolved. I didn't want to do that anymore, but I was doing it because I was good at it. And I think that's the tough thing. My husband at the time, we were no longer married, but he was not supportive of me quitting a multiple six-figure job. He was not excited that I was going to do that. He and I are very good friends now, but he was not happy when I said I didn't want to do that anymore because it's what I'd always done. And I was successful. So why quit? What was I going to do? Sit in front of the TV? It was a process and I had to find my way. I went into creating an online course, for example. I found a mentor and he taught me how to build an online course. I learned about funnels and email campaigns and swipe copy and lists and all that stuff. And that was educational for me. And as I built out this class, I was going to teach how to become an entrepreneur. And because I'd done it now several times, I built the audiobooks business, I built my $1 million business, I'd done all these things. And he's just teach people how to be an entrepreneur. And I was like, okay, I can teach that. I know how to do that. I can teach that. And it wasn't fun. It just didn't float my boat. It wasn't joyful. I thought, I don't want to teach a 6-week class that doesn't sound fun. And he said, what do you want to do? I said, I love speaking, teaching. And so that wasn't my path. I started creating Speakers Playhouse with a friend, and that was fun. Thank God that's been fun for almost 4 years. We're almost to our 100th episode. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, that is excited.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. So we kept doing that, but that wasn't a huge moneymaker. So then we started creating communities and other events like Autopalooza. We have a keynoting camp for speakers. We have the influencers cruise that's coming up. That's a 9-day, 8-night cruise with friends. These events are opportunities to get on a stage and share their juicy goodness with the world. That really lifts me up. What I do is create events and help people get on stages.
Oh, what a journey. That sounds like a lot of fun. You get to bring out the best in other people
Yeah.
while you're having fun. It's
Yeah.
this whole positive circle versus what other people might think. I love that you're emphasizing fun. We get stuck in shoulds. One of my sayings is don't should all over yourself.
I agree completely.
It's powerful to follow and to be able to lead others because I think so many people that I've met on the podcast, they're so incredible. And as I go back and look over the last 3 years, some of them are no longer doing it. They couldn't connect with enough people to share their message. They didn't get that break. How many programs talk about? They still have to cover their mortgage payment.
And I'll tell you the one thing about entrepreneurship that probably is one of the secrets to my success. There's no real secret, but am aware that when you are an entrepreneur at the beginning, 90% of your job is sales. It's not delivery. It's not building a program. It's sales. You have to get people to buy it and then build it. Most people are busy building it and then they hope people will come. That whole, if you build it, they will come thing, it's just not really true.
Mhm.
And it's just so sad that there are so many people out there with great programs that they build, but nobody knows about them because there's no marketing, no sales, no talking about it. They haven't built the reputation. Now, another mentor of mine will say, sell it first. And then if people buy it, then build the program. Don't spend time figuring out your 6-week course. Sell a 6-week course that will give you this transformation. Once you sell it and you have 10 people, then figure out what you're going to teach. I think that's a little last minute, but they do go hand in hand. In the beginning, it's all sales. If you don't have sales, you don't have a business. Once you get sales, that's great. And that sales doesn't end, but now maybe it drops to 50% or 40% of your job. And you can hire a salesperson or a delivery person and keep doing sales. Or you can hire some people to do your email campaigns and things like that. But really, sales is a big part of entrepreneurship. Most great coaches lean away from, and they just think, I have this great program. I know I can help people and that's enough. But that big lie of if you build it, they will come is the big lie.
I've seen that, and I've seen a lot of big people who are in the coaching world who are like, "Oh, you just take this." They go spend
Mm.
2,500, $4,000. Then they're in with hundreds of people, and they don't make a lot of progress because they keep thinking, "Oh, no, I can do this," and then I'm on the beach.
Yep.
And that's not seems to be reality, you
So
know?
I'm going to warn you and your audience. You said the exact word that is the word that's the biggest red flag, and it's the word just. Just do this, and it'll magically happen. Oh, and you're just one funnel away from millions. You just need to create an email campaign, run Facebook ads, create an online course, whatever it is. It's never that. It's never just that.
Mhm.
There's always so much more. And I think that word that, oh, just do this is so inviting to people that want that easy fix, that fast solution. And it's not always that way. The sad part is that sometimes it is. Sometimes for some people, they hit that stride and they make it and they're like, wow, that was easy. And then they teach it to other people, but it's not necessarily reproducible. So
Mhm.
be careful when you hear, whenever I hear the word just, I'm like, ooh, red flag.
Right? So, since you are exposed to thousands of coaches, healers, and service entrepreneurs, why do you think there's resistance to speaking and doing sales, right? Like it's almost like these energetic blocks.
Oh, you said it. Yes. So most people think I'm a healer, heart based. I don't want to ask for money. Money is the root of all evil. I don't want to be a slimy salesperson. I have something really great. They should want to buy it without me having to sell it to them. And I don't want to talk people into anything, maybe because they've been talked into stuff. Sales is an opportunity to get the word out. My favorite way is getting on a stage, grabbing the microphone and sharing your juicy goodness, your story, your passion with somebody else. And it's usually an interviewer like you. So we just get to talk about what we think and what we're all about and what our passion is. And then after we talk, Then at the end of our talk, we'll be talking about what we want you to do next or how you can reach us or what they can do if they want more of your juicy goodness. So
Mhm.
now you get to know the person and what they're about. A Facebook ad, maybe you read 10 words and you're like, yeah, that sounds good. I want that quick fix. But then when you meet the person, you're like, ooh, I don't like them. When you're on a podcast, they get to know who you are. They get to know how you roll, right? They get to know how you speak, how quickly you speak, how slowly you speak. If you're passionate, if you're reserved, if you're calm, if you're some things like I wouldn't be described as calm mostly. Some people love calm. Some want calm. So whoever you are, the right people are going to be attracted to you when you get on the stage and share your true self. So I'm
Mhm.
a huge fan of that. At the end, just tell them how they can play with you.
Before I started the podcast a couple years ago, I would hear, of course, it's the imposter syndrome, but there's so many coaches. The industry is just saturated, right? Don't you just love that word? How are you going to make a difference? I have found extraordinary is that I have met all of these different people and nobody is the same. We could be doing exactly the same thing. I could have my own speaker playhouse, my own Potapalooza, completely different than yours because of you.
I totally agree. People are not necessarily buying the product, they're buying you. Think of if you think back to the programs that you bought, there were probably 10, 15, 20 people who sold those programs or that coaching or that guidance or that that, that formula, right? There were bunches of people who sold it. You probably sold it because you liked the person that you were going to be working with. If it was a coaching program, you have to like the person that you're working with. There was a little cutie that attended Speakers Playhouse one time. We speak very fast on Speakers Playhouse. I used to be an announcer for equestrian polo games. It's fast paced, fun, and upbeat. And afterwards, he sent me a note and he said, Miss Kimberly, I'd love to come back, but you have to slow down. I can't keep up with you. It's too fast for me. And I thought, that's very sweet. It's just, I'm not your person, right? Like, it's great. You're going to find your person who's a lot slower than I.
Mhm.
I'm not your person because I can't slow down for you because all the people who want the fast pace and up the beat and moving and shaking, those are the people I need to attract. I don't have to pretend to be somebody I'm not.
That's exhausting.
You don't want to do that.
No.
Everybody else is taken. Just be you.
It's about those quirky things about us. Did you gaze out the window and your report cards growing up, did it tell you, Kimberly, that Kimberly's talking too much in class?
Yeah.
Why is everybody around Kimberly on the play yard? It's eye-opening when you find out it's those things. So what do you do now? I help people speak.
Healers, coaches, authors are comfortable having a podcast conversation if they don't think of it as sales. And I can help them get on a podcast
Mhm.
or a bigger stage with under 30 people, 15 people and say, I'm Kimberly. This is what I do. People are going to love you. Here's an interesting thing. I don't know if you've seen this. It's actually a study that Google did called the 0 moment of truth. They found the formula called 7-4-11. Seven, it takes an average of 7 hours of research before someone will make a buying decision. They need to find you in 4 locations and they need to have at least 11 different touches before they'll make that buying decision. So what does that look like? So 7 hours of research. If you're going to buy a car, you don't see one drive by and be like, oh, I'm going to buy that one next, and then just write a check for it, right?
Mhm.
No, you're going to do some research and you're going to do research. You might go to Kelly Blue Book and find out how much it is. You might search on the internet for reviews. You might go to the actual car dealership and talk to a person. You're going to take a test drive. You're going to ask friends, talk to your spouse and family, maybe some friends who bought it, do more research, read a book, see a commercial. All those are different locations and different touches and
Mhm.
add to the amount of research that you're doing before you actually write that check for tens of thousands of dollars to the car dealership, right? The
Mhm.
same goes for your coaching plan. So if you're a coach or a healer, people are going to have to do about 7 hours of research, find you in multiple locations
Hmm.
and need about 11 different touches. So how do you do that? If you get on 8 or 10 or 15 podcasts, they could find those. You might have a LinkedIn profile, a website, something on YouTube, a Facebook group. Those are locations where they
Mhm.
can find stuff, but you have to speak, put video and put podcasts out for them to know you. That's the 7 hours of research because they're not just going to read your website for 7 hours, right? They want to know you. My encouragement is to get on other people's stages and get seen and heard in a bigger way so that you can attract in more people who are going to love just you.
Mhm. That is great advice, a great study for people to understand and apply it to what they're trying to do. Because I think we have a tendency to want to do as a coach, as a healer, that you want to just work inside your business. You don't want to work on the business
Yeah.
and trying to
Yeah.
balance what that looks like, right? When it's just you, a lot of solo entrepreneurs. And so, now, how are ways that you also do it? I think you've mentioned Potapalooza. What are some of the other summits that you do that some of the listeners might be interested in learning more about?
So there's a great summit coming up. There it is the summit series. It's called Positive Shifts. And Positive Shifts is for speakers who want to come and speak for a 1 day virtual event. You can speak on Zoom from home about your favorite topic. And that can be your business or what you're an expert in. And then you give expert advice to our audience. And at the end, you can give away a lead magnet or a gift to our audience. So it could be like 10 things you need to do to be a better speaker, or 10 ways to engage your virtual audience, or it could be a downloadable meditation or an ebook. At the end, people can grab your gift and add to your list. Then you can nurture them toward a sale. Positive Shifts is one. If that sounds fun to your audience, they can attend for free, or you can come and find out more about how to speak on that event at Speakers Playhouse. We always talk about it there. So Positive Shifts is one. We have another one that's just for women. That's for women who just want to speak about any topic that they want to. It can be about your business, but it can also be about something you're passionate about. It can be just about like gardening, or it could be about human trafficking, or it could be about whatever your subject of passion is. It's called Voices of Women, and it happens on International Women's Day, March.
Mhm.
We do press releases on it. We do public relations campaigns on it. We run ads to it. And that event, we have hundreds of women speak in a single day, interview style, just like this. It's a conversation with another woman
Mm.
about your passion. About 25 minutes. When you finish, you can have a call to action. If it's about global warming, it might be call your senator or whatever you want it to be. It's a chance for women to raise their voice. The more we do that,
Mm.
the more powerful the world will be.
I think women have a unique place in the world
Yeah.
and the gifts that we bring, and they've proven it over and over with the studies, right? We are very powerful leaders. We have
Indeed.
to first lead ourselves.
That's great advice.
What really changed for me is I read the book and now it's older, but was Sherry, the head of Facebook, and she
Yeah.
had that book, Lean In, I think it was called.
Yep.
It's older now, right? At least
Yep.
10 years old. And I remember where she was talking about where we wouldn't even, if you go into in the corporate environment, they would have a big conference room, people come in, and then the women would sit on the back seats against the wall versus their place at the table.
That's fascinating. And I think it's Sheryl Sandberg, and she wrote Lean In, very powerful book. And I know that a lot of us step back instead of stepping forward, and we want to wait and see. Maybe I'll do that next week. I know I need to get on podcast. Do it now. Take action. What podcasts are you listening to? Reach out to that podcaster and just say, hey, is there a chance that I can be on your show? I'd love to speak. And it's surprising how many podcasters are looking for guests to complete their season. I highly encourage you to do that.
When people try to go to others, they want you to have the one page. Sometimes that's intimidating when starting.
Yeah, a one page. I once taught a class on this, and somebody said, do I need a one page? And I said, absolutely not. You don't need a one page. There are so many podcasts out there. They're just looking for your headshot and your bio and your talk title. That's it. Don't stop because you don't have a one page yet. Just go out and try to find podcasts. And
Mhm.
then if one of them asks for a one page, then just put it aside and then get some more podcasts. And then eventually you'll have a one page. I have spoken on over 5,000 stages. I have never had a one page. I've never had one. and I've spoken on 5,000 stages. So don't let that stop you. Now, what I learned from teaching that is that many moons later, when I looked at the comments, in the comments, it said, is she going to tell us what a one page is? What's a one page? I was like, oh, okay. Next time I teach this, I'm going to remember to say what a one page is. So for those of you listeners who are like, what is a one page for crying out loud? It is a two-sided PDF that you would give hands to a speaker booker. And it has your headshot on it and your bio and your talk titles and your learning points and your contact information and some testimonials. That's it. It's not magic sauce. I didn't need one, so you probably don't need one either. I highly recommend reaching out and getting on some stages that don't require a one sheet.
And I just recorded a podcast recently, I guess you could say, and it hasn't aired, and it's about how I hired my coach. So I
Oh,
have my coach on, and we
yeah.
spend close to an hour and talking about it. And what I found so interesting about it was that she doesn't even actually go by the name of healer or coach, and she doesn't use any of those titles. But I hired her because I, just like your study, had seen her in multiple venues and she was different. I liked that she didn't sound like everybody else. Like she has totally embodied who she is, why she's different. And that's what I wanted.
Yeah. There are 100 people who coach on health, thousands on health, and thousands on speaking. There are thousands and thousands of people who coach on business. And they're going to hire you because they like you. They're going to hire you because you resonated with them, because you showed up at the right time, because they feel comfortable with you, because you said something that they really loved that the other people did not. Don't second guess yourself. You have value, you have worth, and you just need to stand in confidence of that, knowing that it's true and the right people are going to be attracted into your world. Don't struggle to find clients. If you're struggling to talk people into working with you, you're doing it all wrong. You need to attract people, let people know who you are and what you're up to in the world. And the right people will flow to you, just like you did to your coach. You heard her speak and you went to her. It wasn't that she came and she was locking you down. Are you going to buy, Debbie? Are you going to buy now? If you don't buy tonight at midnight, I'm not going to have the same deal and you're going to lose out, right? She didn't do that. And that's not how, in my opinion, that's not how sales should be made anymore.
Yes. And I think that's where we're going as females are stepping, so many more and more females are stepping into the whole entrepreneurness. We're stepping into corporate roles, right? That is like relationships are key. And
Yes.
in the corporate world, sometimes they downplay the soft skills. And really,
Right.
if you don't have soft skills, how do you navigate through life? I,
I
I've
know.
always wondered when you get told that you spend so much time making sure that they're comfortable. And I'm like, why wouldn't I? Don't you?
Yes. Yes.
Don't you ask people how they're doing? Is this still work for you? Basic stuff.
I love it. Your
You know,
heart is in the right place. And I hope people follow your example.
what is one thing you'd like to leave with listeners about all of these magical events that you are creating, or about advice, or what would you like to leave with the listeners?
If you were a coach, speaker, author, or an entrepreneur or a healer, and you have this magical program, then I want you to get the word out quickly. If you're not seen, you're overlooked. If you're not being heard, your message is not getting out there. And if you're not consistently getting it out on stages, then it's not to have the impact that you want it to have before you leave the planet.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I love that message. So, Kimberly, all my guests, I asked two questions. And the first one is I really believe in the power of music. I think you can shift your mood. Your whole day can change from hearing a song. And so I want to know, what's the song that makes you stay into this whole fun and you don't go down that rabbit hole of falling back into the I'm supposed to do this?
I'm not a big music fan. This was a struggle for me because our theme song is Eye of the Tiger. That will get me going every time. I just love it. But really, anything with an upbeat and like flair will go for it. If you had a song about my theme in life, it would be like, Have you got that feeling? It's just the feeling inside you that's going to get you going and moving. That was a poor answer to a wonderful question, but I'm going to go with either Eye of the Tiger or Got That Feeling.
Okay. Those are great songs. I love that rocky visual running up those stairs and
Yeah.
Philly. That's great. Now, with all the experiences you have in this season part of your life, when you flick back to who you were when you were young, what would you tell them about owning their own worth?
The tough one. I think that if I could go back and tell myself anything, it would be, you're awesome just the way you are. You're going to go far in life and just trust your gut because it's going to lead you in the right direction. Figure out what's fun for you and do that. There's a wonderful quote from Howard Thurman who said, when you're looking for what to do, not ask what the world needs. Ask what lights you up because the world needs more people lit up.
Oh, I love that. Oh
Isn't
my
that
God.
beautiful? I'm like,
It is.
oh, it's so good. Howard Thurman was a mentor to Martin Luther King Jr. Can you imagine? And so this is what he says is just ask what lights you up. What lights you
Mhm.
up?
Yeah, it
Yes.
does make a difference.
It's
Anytime
perfect
that
for
you
your
put
podcast.
aside stuff that does not light you up,
Yeah.
and you start doing the things that light you up, everybody notices what's different. It's not those new red glasses or
Thank
shiny
you.
earrings. It's that you're doing something that you feel aligned with.
That's true. I have an acronym that I know that I don't know if we have time for, but it's how to get on the road to joy. And ROAD is an acronym. Do you have a minute for me to give
Mhm.
that?
Yeah.
So ROAD is the acronym. So R stands for relish. If you relish something, keep doing it. Just keep doing it as long as you love doing it. If it really lights you up, if you have fun doing it and you're just relish doing that activity every morning, you wake up and you're like, I can't believe I get to do this today. Keep doing that. If you can't, you don't relish it, then it has to go in one of the other three categories. Outsource it, meaning pay somebody else to do it.
Mhm.
Automate it, meaning, okay, I don't like vacuuming, so I'm going to buy myself a Roomba, or I don't like doing email campaigns, so I'm going to automate that, right?
Mhm.
Or delete it. Delete it entirely from your life. See if you can get rid of it completely. That's my secret sauce. Get on the road to joy, relish it. And if you don't, then outsource, automate it, or delete it.
That's a really good nugget for people because you do hear as an entrepreneur, oh, you need to be all over this.
I can't do them all.
Focus on what you can do. This has been wonderful, Kimberly. I've enjoyed getting to know you and the gifts you're bringing, lifting up others to spread more joy and light. It's so needed, more now than ever. So thank you for joining me.
Debbie, thank you so much. It's just been a true honor and a pleasure to be with you today.
Thanks.